Well, good afternoon, Paso Robles. It's Gina DiGirolamo here with the Heart of Paso, my new endeavor, my new life as a talk show host, a local connector, I guess you could say. And it's been really fun. Been talking to some amazing folks. This is actually episode number 10 in the last 2.5 weeks. I can't believe it. And it's been a blast. What I'm doing is talking to local business owners, organizations, trying to find out what people are up to during our current way of living. I don't even know what to call it anymore because every day it has a different name. Are we quarantined? Are we sheltering in place? Are we upset? I don't know. It's all kinds of things. It's all over the gamut. But in any case, today I'm going to talk to Brian Terrizzi, who has two fantastic local businesses. He's got ETTO Pasta and Giornata Wines. And I'm really excited about talking to Brian. He and I have so much to talk about, but we will try to keep it focused for sure. One of the things I would like to have you guys do, if you would please, either while you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, please share this video because it's going to not only help the business owner, it's going to help Paso Robles overall, and it's going to help the other organizations and things that the business owner is supporting. And the other cool thing is you can ask questions in the comments. We're going to see them. We're going to bring them up. We're going to have a great discussion. So I'm going to bring in Mr. Brian Terrizzi right now. There he is. Hi, Brian.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great.
Right
How are
on.
you?
Oh, I'm good,
Yeah, you're hanging out?
Yeah.
Hanging out looking like you're, we were talking about our hairdos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My hair. So I was supposed to go to Italy 2 months ago, and I cut my hair right before my trip to Italy, and I haven't had it cut since. So I think I'm just going to just see how long, when I can go to my barber officially, then I'll get it cut. So we'll see.
I thought you were going to say you're going to not get it cut until you can go to Italy.
Well, yeah, maybe that's a good plan.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm actually supposed to go in June, but we haven't officially canceled, but I think that's in the works any day. So
yeah, one step at a time for sure. We're going to talk about your roots to Italy and all of that, but like I said, you are a deep man, Brian Terrizzi, as far as what you've got going on here in Paso Robles and being part of the Heart of Paso. And two of these projects that are very well known are ETTO Pasta and Giornata Wines. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, so I mean, Giornata started first. It was probably 13, 14 years ago. So, and I have to talk about my wife. I met my wife, Stephanie, at wine school over at Fresno State. And, I had this idea to, I actually had already worked in Italy, but that would be a whole long story. But we met, and I had this idea to emulate my favorite Italian wines and bring the traditions of Italy here in terms of winemaking and keeping stuff super traditional to Italy, which sounds really easy, but it hadn't really been done kind of to the extent that we wanted to do it, which is focusing on viticulture, terroir, and choosing the right grapes for the right soil types. So, we did a ton of research when we were at school. Then we went back to Italy in different trips and started Giornata. And, now we're, 13, 14, 15 years into it. And I mean, it seems like not that long, but, the wine business is interesting. It takes a long time. I mean,
right.
People that hop into the wine business and think, overnight they're going to be the next famous winery. It doesn't work that way. It takes years and years.
Especially when you're doing the old world style, I would imagine.
Yeah.
More so the terroir, take.
Yeah, we're trying to make wines that reflect purity, balance. Wines that express the terroir, the grape variety, and the place it's grown, the season it's grown in, and really staying pure. So that's kind of what we're doing, which sounds easy, but it's kind of hard. But I've always been very busy. I've had other projects I've been involved with. So, it lends itself well to not manipulating wines. We don't add chemicals. We do everything, native fermentation as natural as possible. So being so busy, I don't mess with the wines. I just kind of let them do their thing.
Right, right. So the wine is, like you said, that's something we could talk about on another episode. Now I kind of advertised this as an ETTO episode, and we've got some
Right.
great reasons why. So we'll mention the wine a little bit here and there, but let's talk about ETTO and that project.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Giornata, being Italian variety wines, and you've been to our winery before. A lot of times we would kind of go down this path with our customers who maybe didn't know a lot about Italian wines, but we'd end up talking about food and the foods of Italy, and a lot of times that led us to pasta and the regional pasta dishes around Italy. And as the area I'm in, this area called Tin City, developed, I realized, this would be an opportunity to combine our wine with these foods of Italy that I talked about so many times. So, that was the concept in my head, and I had to kind of convince my wife, Steffi, like, hey, this could be a really cool idea. And so this we launched about 2.5 years ago, and it was a new building. And the idea was a really simple pasta factory that we'd make pasta for restaurants. And just like we do with our wine, we sell our wine in a lot of restaurants. So I have a lot of contacts, and make pasta for the local community. And it would tie really well with what we're doing with wine. And we'd feature local products, and ingredients that complement the pasta and complement the wines. And so
I can't believe it's only been 2.5 years.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. And so when I talk about wine taking a long time, you get one chance a year. And when I talk to chefs, I mean, if they screw up a dish or they're trying to fix a dish, they can make the dish the next day. When you're making wine, our Nebbiolo is a good example. So we get one crack at it a year. And if you don't pick at the right time or something goes wrong, you have a whole next year to wait.
Right.
So, with the beauty of what we're doing with pasta is every day we get another chance, and things move so much quicker. So they complement each other well, the two things. I think that's been really nice. So
definitely complement each other. So let's give the people a look at ETTO and what it looks like. We did a little video earlier today. So like you said, you're in Tin City, great little spot in Paso Robles, which we could talk a lot about that. This is the way it looks right now. Typically it's very packed, but you go into your place and it's just chock full of goodies, whether they're your goodies or imported goodies, which I love. And you're making the pasta right there, right in front of everybody.
Yeah, so it's interesting. When I started this whole project, I reached out to some California pasta makers, and nobody wanted to show me anything, any of their equipment, how they do things, give me any information. So there's our pasta, the dried pasta. We sell small boxes, we sell big bags.
Yeah, I was gonna pause it for a second just so we could show that.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
I kind of realized pretty quickly, in the wine business, it's really common to show people what you're doing with wine because wine is so difficult that there's no real competitive advantage. But I realized with pasta pretty quickly, this has to be pretty easy if nobody will tell you anything about what they're doing.
Right. Ask your grandmother.
Yeah, and it is easy compared to making wine, but it's also very complicated. Drying pasta involves a lot of technical programming, and but
I just want to point out, Brian,
yeah,
it's not only dried pasta, but fresh pasta too, which we could maybe in a minute talk about the differences.
Yeah, sure.
But I just want to highlight the store real quick. We can get into the detail of some of this stuff.
Yeah. So meatballs, local meat. We have ravioli. So we make dozens of different flavors that we alternate week by week. Alapia, local good friends, Italian family that does salumi and sausage.
And then on all your imported stuff.
Yeah, and this imported stuff, we started pretty small, and it's just kind of grown by leaps and bounds. You know, and a lot of it's customer driven. Someone will pop in and go, "Hey, I'm looking for who knows what, some ingredient that's hard to find," and I generally say, "Well, I'll find it," and that's kind of a challenge for me. But you know, I'm glad to support the kind of the culinary minds in our local community here. So
yeah, and then of course here's some of the joy, and it's so beautiful, right? Because you have the winery, you could retail sell your wine here.
Yeah,
which is nice.
so it's technically, you know, other wineries say, "Oh, can you sell my wine there?" But it's bonded to our winery, so
right,
I can sell my own wines, which is fine.
And then this is something we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah, here's kind of the process
project.
bagging up some pasta. This is for a donation we're doing that we can talk about. There's Noe and Leah.
Yeah, and everybody.
I have a great.
Everyone's wearing their masks, doing their thing.
Yeah, I have a great team. Everybody that works for me now, or you know, I like to say we work together. Has been there well over a year now, and we just added a new team member, which I feel really good about because you know I know a lot of people aren't, you know, they're losing their job, and that's what happened to this gentleman, and we're trying to expand our production right now, and so to be able to hire right now is one person, but still every person matters. So that was a nice thing to be able to do.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about your idea about, you know, you and I were talking, I think it was just like a week ago, and you were telling me that, so typically before COVID-19, your Thursdays and Fridays were really busy preparing pasta for the restaurants and the caterers for the busy weekends, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I forget the number. I could do the math in my head, but you know, there was a point where, you know, it was something like 10,000 servings of our pasta every couple weeks were being eaten in this county.
Wow.
And that just kind of blew my mind to think about. I'm like, well, what was everyone eating before that? And that happened quickly. So, you know, we were making pasta for some of the public school programs, a couple private schools, as well as about 50 restaurants and caterers, and you know, everywhere from little tiny spots to pretty significant, very popular, very accomplished chefs, and we kind of became every chef's best friend because to make pasta requires a ton of time, space, labor, and you know, it's nice to be able to offer that service. And you know, obviously now we're only making pasta for, you know, let's say 3 to 5 places a week. So it's really, and it's really horrifying to think about. I mean, these were 50 really successful businesses that we were making pasta for. So you know, it kind of changed my business routine quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm
that's
sure.
what we're talking about. So
yeah, well, we got in a couple comments, so let's acknowledge some people here. Hello from Cleveland. They love your wine, Dad. That's one of my cousins I actually had brought in.
Oh, nice.
Brought in, yeah. And I was just talking to them. I think we were FaceTiming 2 nights ago, and they were drinking some Aglianico that they loved. And they loved the Falanghina. So they were like, are you making Falanghina this year?
Yeah, so we're going to cut our production a little bit, and you know, that's a whole nother can of worms. But Falanghina and Fiano we're gonna stick with on the white wine side because they've been so successful and popular and perfect.
Good.
Paso.
Good. Glad to hear it. All right. And then a hello from Lydia from the Paso Food Coop. I'm sporting the Paso Food
Coop nice.
Right today. And we're going to continue to talk about the food program right now, Brian. So let's go back to, okay, so you were busy, had all kinds of work to do, serving up tons of pasta to nothing. And then you started thinking, what am I going to do, or what can I do?
Well, I started thinking a few things. I mean, my first thought was really worrying about the restaurant community here, and that's something I still worry about. And I'm not, I try to um, lend support anywhere I can. I'm still working with like Hatch Restaurant. They're buying pasta. They've had a really successful pickup program at their restaurant. I'm trying to stay in touch with my people in the food community and encourage them. Hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. If there's anything I can do to help you,
Right.
I'm happy to do so. But a lot of them are fairly despondent, or it's not a good situation at all. And hopefully, we'll get through it in the next few months. But I have extra capacity, so we started doing some different things in the store, making some more creative items to sell to our local customer base. But I think what really struck me, I saw these food lines, like in Pittsburgh. That was the first thing I saw. I don't know if you saw that, but it was people were in line like 8 hours to get food, and then I saw some similar stuff in Los Angeles, and I'm friends with Becky at Must Charities, and I said, I can make a lot of servings of food pretty quick. We can make about 200 to 400 portions of pasta in about an hour. And the great thing about pasta,
wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot of pasta, and the great thing about pasta that a lot of people don't know is it is high in protein. Of course, there's carbohydrates. People think it's just kind of empty calories, but it's really not. It's high in protein, complex carbohydrates, so it gives you energy for a long period of time. It's really fabulous for children, especially children that can remain active. Our kids are doing school at home, but they're still out exercising. The schools are really encouraging them to try to run around the block, and so
I wonder if they're more active at home because it's not as structured. Just curious. How you have kids? Are they running around in between clubs?
we have a trampoline, which I didn't want to buy them because I was like, you're going to kill yourselves, but it has the nets, and I mean they're on that thing all the time. And then they've actually been jogging around our little neighborhood.
Wow.
Because they, at school they're supposed to run the mile, and they're really staying pretty active. And what I started thinking about is, okay, well, I can make a lot of food. It's not real expensive. I have some labor, but I want to keep my crew employed. What can I do here? So I reached out to some folks I know, and just at Templeton School, which is where my kids go to school, they provide 350 school lunches per day, and it's breakfast and lunch for families that are food challenged. And that kind of blew me away because Templeton's a really small little chunk of the school district here. And that's a lot of kids, that are relying on the breakfast and lunch. And, a lot of them wouldn't have breakfast and lunch if it wasn't for the school program. So
is the school, prior to what you're going to be starting, does the school still delivering those 350 meals, breakfast and lunch, to these kids and these families?
So it's a pickup. So
a pickup, that's what I meant.
So it's like a drive-through, and you pick up the next day's breakfast, and you pick up lunch.
Okay.
And it's kind of amazing that a little school like Templeton has 350 kids, and maybe it's like 200 families because some have. So what I thought is, well, maybe if I could donate enough pasta on Fridays for like a weekend dinner for the families, and that wouldn't be super hard for me to do, and see how that works. So that's a program where we've produced the pasta. We're going to drop it off tomorrow morning, so that'll go home
So that's the first run is this weekend?
That's the first run, and it's going to be so it should be 600 portions of pasta, and so
Wow.
yeah, it's hard. I've when I started my business, I wanted to donate a percentage of pasta every week to folks in need, and I've done that with ETTO
Right.
here and there, which I know you've had on your show.
Mhm.
I've worked with the Slow Food Bank a little bit, but it's a challenge logistically sometimes. So this actually seems like it could be a really uh, great solution for me to donate pasta and also for it to get to folks that need it. So it'll be 600 meals basically. Friday will be picked up, and then that can be eaten over the weekend. I want feedback, and then
Right.
and
I'm
then
gonna share that part of the video again because
sure.
this is the meal that you're talking about right here. This particular right here, right? This is what we're talking about that
Yeah,
you
so we're
bagged up.
in, and we make people that have been in, we make all these different shapes of pasta, and it's pretty cool because kids, even my kids, who eat a lot of pasta, you make a different shape of pasta, and it's almost like a different
Right.
meal. So we really try when we do these school programs is to um, switch shapes so kids don't get sick of it. So my hope is
Yeah.
this program is successful, and then we'll do different shapes of pasta. My hope is to incorporate some sauce next time. And
Okay,
sauce is a
so
tricky.
they're gonna pick up, what are these, 16 ounce, 8 ounce?
This is a pound, so
A
about
pound, so
16
16 ounce.
ounces. So
So
that'll feed a family of four, no
right.
problem.
Unless you're in my house, it feeds two.
Yeah, no, this is my pasta disclaimer. You're not supposed to eat those giant bowls of spaghetti that are
Right.
a pound. I mean, that'll pack the pounds on anyone. Because people
Right.
think about pasta as like, oh, well, I eat your pasta just once a week because
Because
pasta
I
is
put on too much weight.
very healthy, but
Ye
you have to eat it in moderation. You can't eat a
Right.
full pizza. You can't eat a double big gulp. You have to
Yeah.
eat a sensible portion of pasta. But one portion of our pasta from that bag, so there's 4 portions in there, would be about 13 grams of protein, which people don't realize. I mean,
That's actually a lot for one
it's a lot.
small bowl.
It's a lot. I mean, it actually for a kid that could be almost enough for the day.
Wow.
So obviously that's not ideal, but
Yeah,
it,
but it's
it is
gonna
a
help
good,
especially these families in need, like you're
yeah,
saying.
it is a good start, and I think like anything, I want the product to get out there, but I also my big thing is how can this be successful, and how can we grow it?
Well,
Who
look,
what other
let me stop you
features
right now for a
Sure.
second. How can this be successful? The next comment that came up, Nicholas Lynch. How can we donate?
Well, so um, yeah, so this is the launch. So after this, I need to get some feedback. I need to make sure it's working, that it's being used. Um, if I should incorporate sauce, how to do that. I
Mhm.
can go in a lot of directions with sauce. It's interesting. Now I've been doing school lunches. Some kids don't like sauce. Some kids want butter. Some kids
Yeah, butter,
want
Parmesan
red sauce.
cheese.
Some people, there's folks who don't eat meat, of course. So the next step is let's try to incorporate a sauce, because
Mhm.
that just adds more
Yeah.
nutrients, more value. So as I begin that, I will be soliciting donations through ETTO, and I've talked to Becky at Must about that, because I want it to be very. I love how Must works, and I want
Mhm.
it to be very kind of transparent. Like every dollar that someone donates, or if they want to someone wants to donate time, I might be able to figure that out as well. But that it actually gets directly into this program. If there's any residual, that would go into Must charities or.
Can you tell us a little bit, since you brought it up? Can you tell us a little bit how Must Charities works?
Well, Must actually has a board that's paid separate from the charity. So
Okay.
the great thing about Must is every penny that they get in donation goes directly to the charities that they've selected and support.
Mhm.
So there's no salary that's pulled out of donations to Must Charity. So and it's a very transparent organization, which to me is the right way to do things in
Right.
a sense. So,
Yeah.
and I don't want, of course, that's not why I'm doing this, but there's always this sense. I'm one of those kind of skeptical people that, hey, this is like there's some profit motive behind this, and there really isn't. Because if I cared about that, I wouldn't have gotten in the wine business. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No.
I mean, we're not, I don't want to say altruistic. We are altruistic, but we're also responsible stewards of our own money and our family and supporting our own households. And one of the cool things I think about our community is so many people like yourself, Brian, and just about everybody I've talked to so far in the show. I mean, that's what we're about. And that's why for me, this is the heart of Paso. And I was thinking today, just like a heart as an organ in your body, it can't function by itself. It has to, it's connected by veins and arteries and, all kinds of things. And that's what this community is, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was, right before I came down to talk to you, really longtime great customer came into ETTO, and I said, "How you doing? I haven't seen you in a while." And he's like, I hurt my back, and and now I can't work, and my wife lost her job, and he said, I have to get evaluated, but I lost my medical insurance, and I'm I have 2/3 my pay, and he was
Not
shopping
sure if you froze, Brian.
shopping at ETTO, and ETTO, our prices I think are reasonable, but I just felt horrible. I was like, man, this is a guy I've seen since we first opened. Huge supporter of what we're doing.
Hey, Brian, I just want to have you repeat it. For me, you froze up. Not sure for the audience you did. So can you just repeat that? I lost you at.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So one of my longtime ETTO customers came in, and he'd hurt his back. I was asking him how everything was going. I hadn't seen him in a couple months, and turned out he was unable to work, so he kind of lost his job. He's getting 2/3 pay, lost his health insurance, and his wife lost her job completely. And they have a kid, and they were still shopping at ETTO, but I felt horrible, and there's countless people going through the same exact thing right now, and it could easily be us. I mean, we're fortunate to be in almost the grocery business now, so we can be open for business, but most people can't. And there's, some people have savings, some people don't. And there's a lot of suffering in our community. And like you're saying, I think if you have the means to help, and we're by no means wealthy, but you have to do it in these times. And when you need something, I think it'll be there for you. That's kind of what a community is all about. So that's the way I see it.
And the feeling I got when I came down this morning, just being at the store, was such a great feeling of community, because ran into Kelly there, who I know, and meeting some other people, and it just feels so good, right? I mean, and you and I grew up. I don't know what your household was like growing up Italian, but mine was. We were first. My parents were first generation. My mother was born in Italy, so that's something that this town brings to me, that gives me that warm feeling. And being in your store gave me that warm feeling too. So I like that it's not just a place where, you go pick up some food, but it's a place to go visit somebody friendly, you know.
Yeah, and that's the way it's always been. And it's hard now because we have to social distance. You wanted to give Kelly a hug, you couldn't do it. We have to wear masks,
Mhm.
and people know they can't just linger around, and folks are in and out, and we're doing curbside pickup. I mean, part of the joy for me in ETTO was telling people how to cook stuff and writing down
Mhm.
recipes and showing folks my favorite ingredients. And it's it's not. I mean, it's still great because we have community and I'm seeing people, but it's certainly different. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get back to that, but it's no, it's right now we all have to think what can we do if you're in a position to help those around us.
Yeah.
And we can't rely on the federal government. We're too far away from all that. We have to do
Right.
it ourselves. Is kind of the way I see it.
Well, and I think, we are definitely a lot of people in this community have that mentality. A lot of bootstrappers, entrepreneurs. Um, I think just goes back, right? The pioneering spirit, all of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, totally.
and it's true. We gotta remember that. And you just gotta go back to those roots. Um, so we're so happy that you did decide to open up ETTO. Um, it's not only just as a product, right, that we see around, but to have your flagship store, I guess we could call it that, where you can buy, because you can buy Etto pasta in other places like General Store and things like that,
Yeah, well, I
correct?
mean, we're in grocery stores, and you can find us at California Fresh and Pismo and in San
Nice.
Luis Obispo. And honestly, right now we can't make enough dried pasta because pasta has become a hot commodity. But we can only make so much dried pasta a day, and we can make a lot more fresh pasta. And it's a lot of people view it as a luxury item, but to be honest, in Italy, it's a staple, and it's cucina
Right.
povera. It's what people eat because it provides a lot of nutrition without a lot of cost. So
I'm going to bring this in one more time because talk a little bit, because a lot of people don't know what's the difference between dried pasta, which we're seeing here, and there's dried, and then these fresh pastas.
well, so one thing, I mean, we can't dry the long pastas, and people think that's kind of crazy. They say, oh, well, spaghetti, you can find dried spaghetti everywhere, but the equipment to make dried spaghetti is a fortune. So
Oh,
someday
okay.
maybe we'll be able to do it, but fresh pasta, the beauty of it, it cooks really fast. It's really
Hmm.
soft. Fettuccine, it's like super luscious. We make bucatini, which is kind of an interesting um, long pasta shape. But there's really nothing negative to say about dried pasta. Dried pasta, I think, in the States is kind of looked at as substandard to fresh pasta, but in Italy, most Italians eat dried pasta
Yeah.
pretty much all the time. And the beauty of dried pasta is if you cook it right, it stays al dente. It's very healthful. It breaks down slowly in your body, so it gives you energy for a long period of time. I mean, pasta, I could talk about pasta all day, but it's one of the most versatile foods on the planet because it's a vehicle for whatever protein and
Yeah.
vegetables, and you can eat. Our pasta is vegan, so you can create a vegan meal from it. You can, if you're a meat lover, you can create a meaty pasta ragu. I mean, it's kind of amazing, the versatility, and I think it's having a moment right now. I mean, you read so much about uh, pasta and tons of publications, and Instagram, people are making all these crazy pasta
Oh
dishes.
yeah. So I picked up some of the the meatballs, and the ragu, and some fresh bread from you today, because I'm going to make my meatball sandwiches tonight for dinner. So I'm
Yeah,
excited about
that's a
that.
that's
But
a
I'm
that's
all
a classic. I mean, when I was a kid, that was like
Oh yeah.
my thing. I mean, that was like my ultimate comfort food. There was a little Italian shop that made these meatball hoagies, and
Yep. Where did you
whatever,
grow up?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, that's right. Because I
So,
was Cleveland. I'm Cleveland. You're
oh,
Cincinnati.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're
What
kind of
I'm.
rivals, except my mom's from Cleveland. So,
Oh, you can't hate us that much then.
right on.
I've got Brian. I'm going to show because you. This is really cool. Let me see. Get this right here.
Yeah, so we made a few wines for ETTO, especially with what's going on right now. We bottled a couple months ago, and I kind of knew what we were headed into. So they're affordable. They're $15. We did a white, rosé and a red, and they're blended Italian variety wines. Affordable, delicious,
Yeah.
I think, and yeah, they've been really successful. We only made like 50 cases of each, and I thought, oh, that'll last me a year, and they're
flying off the shelves probably right
flying
now.
off the shelves. So
yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
so
I
cool.
mean, it's an interesting time because while I love what we do and I'm passionate, I feel like it's not an appropriate time to market because there's all this temptation. I mean, back here in Tin City, we're always marketing ourselves and talking to reporters, and there's Tin City movie that got us a lot of publicity. So it's an awkward time. So it's like, do you market what you're doing, or do you not market what you're doing? And
well, there's a difference between marketing and telling your story, and I think that's what we're doing here. Is we're telling your story, and because you are providing a service that's needed, definitely people need food. People need to enjoy life. I mean, like, let's go back to, again, we're both Italian. We've grown up in that culture.
yeah,
It wasn't about always how much money we're making or selling, but the socialization, the relaxation, the enjoyment of life, of food and wine, and having family or friends, and the connection is what is important. And I think that's what you're providing, and telling the story about what we're doing with the food for the kids, and what we can do for the community. It's got to be told.
yeah, no, it's yeah. There's a lot all of us can do. I mean, if I think if we're in a position, and that's what I've seen. I mean, that's what I love about Paso. I've been here, 14, 15 years, and I didn't know anybody, Steffi and I, when we moved here, and we were welcomed in. We're friends with all the top wine people and restaurant people, and there's not this pretentiousness. I mean, people are willing to help you out, and so I feel like that's what we need to do. I mean, that's what we all need to think about, and that's what makes it so special here. I mean, you moved here from Los Angeles, and nothing against Los Angeles. I mean, there's great communities there as well, but it's different, because you have to travel so much down there. And I lived in the Bay Area, and it's the same thing. I mean, it's stressful to leave your house sometimes, and here everyone seems to really be connected. Even during this time, I still feel that community connection with everyone.
Yeah, I do too. And it's so important. I also, that today I was listening to a podcast, actually about how important, so we're social beings, human beings, and we need to be social. And we're not really social distancing, we're physical distancing. Like, we're being social right now, and it's great. And so I want to just encourage everybody to keep connecting to each other, reach out, and just because you can't leave, thank God we have these tools, we can do this kind of stuff. It's super important. Buy a meal for somebody, send it to their house, drop it off, whatever. You're going to feel really good about yourself, I think.
Yeah, no, we've had people shipping our pasta to friends online, like ordering it in California, shipping it to someone in Brooklyn, or some of these places that have had real devastating. And I think in my head, like, I would love to know who ordered it, because I don't even know who they are, and who's getting it and where's it going, and but that makes me feel good, that
it'd be cool to know the story behind that.
Comforting. Good food can be real comforting through all this. So
yeah. So I'm going to pull up real quick, the ETTO website just so people could see that. You could buy, so can they order pasta here to ship to people or?
Yeah, you just click the shop Eto. We have a pretty good. I mean, we're trying to put everything that we carry online and we're actually, now that we have extra time, we're working on our website, so
Yeah.
it'll change a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of what we're doing this week. This meatball madness. We did lamb meatballs and venison, all from local meats,
Nice.
and yeah, so all this stuff's available locally for pickup or curbside. We made tiramisu, which was really cool.
Sold out individuals.
Yeah,
Now we can't really be sending this stuff to New York,
yeah,
but
the
this is all the
sandwich.
yummy
Yeah,
fresh stuff we could get.
so we yeah, it's been we sold out of manicotti. We made tons of it, and it folks that follow us certainly know to hop on stuff quick because it
it's gonna go.
out. So, but yeah, it's fun to be creative.
Al pastor ravioli. Wow, I didn't know
Yeah,
about that.
that's a good one.
Ooh.
So
Okay,
yeah,
this is all the fresh.
my main pasta guy grew up in Mexico City. He's been here forever, 30 years, but he's worked in a lot of great restaurants, but he makes amazing al pastor. So we turned that into a ravioli, and it's just delicious.
I'm gonna be all over that next time.
Yeah, we did a sauce with like cilantro and guacamole, and it's kind of a Paso fusion, so to speak.
Somebody's stalking the manicotti here, as they say.
Yeah, they're too late.
So here's some of the dried pastas that you could buy and send to people. And can you ship the wines, Brian?
Oh yeah. We ship wine every day.
Yeah, I bet. Cool.
Yeah. No, I feel super fortunate that we're open. We love Paso General Store, and I hope businesses like that can open up soon because they can social distance, and they're very responsible, and I get how safe we need to be, but there's a lot of local businesses that I think can be very responsible and be open right now. So that's kind of what I'm hoping the next step is in all this.
Yeah. And there's plenty of shows and news and all that where we could kind of speculate and talk about all of that, and that's kind of, I don't really want to go down that road, and I know you probably don't either, but I was talking with Kristen and Joel from Orle yesterday, and they were saying how the restaurants are owners, getting together and thinking about forward thinking how they could be opening up and what they would do. And I think a lot of people are very, very responsible about the whole idea. And it's great for you to be able to be open here. So at our Giornata, the tasting room, you have a small, nice, intimate space. That's where you're at right now, actually.
Right.
So you may end up opening up sooner than other bigger places because you're appointment only anyways over there, right?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll open fairly soon. It's one of those things. I have a couple employees that, they have family members that are considered high risk, and they're frankly, we were planning to go to Italy, and they were a little concerned before we closed down. So we just have to play it by ear, and
right.
do what's right. And I'm not going to put. It's different when if you're tasting wine with someone for an hour to an hour and a half, and they're spitting and all. I don't know. I don't even want to talk. I mean,
yeah, you don't even have to go there right now.
And it's one of those things like, one thing, because I deal with the public every day and I wear my mask, and I hear theories or this, we should do this, we should do that, we should.
Sure.
And I've heard every crazy theory on the planet and every solution, every what go right, what should be different. What I kind of decided is, I can't really control this, but what I can control is, there's people who are in need, and I can help them, and that's where I'm going to put my energy. I'm not going to put my energy into trying to solve who did what right or wrong,
right?
Or when we should do what, because honestly, I don't have any power in that, but I can, I think, maybe help some people that need it. So
yeah, I'm
I think
with you on that.
if we put more energy into that, that would be much more positive,
I agree. I'm with you on that, Brian. So whatever we can do to get your program, the school program that we've talked about. So if you're just catching us, we've been talking now for 45 minutes about a lot of really cool things that Brian's been up to at ETTO Pasta, and a little bit about Giornata. Mostly what we want people to know about is the program that Brian's starting this weekend. He is donating pasta to families in need through school programs that have been feeding these families during the week, basically. And this weekend is the first weekend. How many meals did you say, Brian? How many servings or families?
It should be 600 to 650.
Okay. And then, so you'll get some feedback how it goes this weekend. And I know some people would like to know how they could participate. So you'll get back to us on that.
For sure.
And maybe we could go on again and talk about that.
Yeah. Before I even go there, I want to make sure it's working and there's something there. I can afford to do this on my own for a little bit. But if it grows and we want to incorporate more stuff into it, and folks would like to contribute, that's great, but that's not the point of all this. So,
well, that's great. That you got a big old heart there, Brian. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you and everything that you and Steffi have brought to our community so far, and just keep looking forward to all the.
Well, the amazing thing with her is, we're both really busy, and she does all her books and works really, really hard, and I have these ideas, and she's super supportive, and kind of anything I come up with, and sometimes they're a little off the wall, she's like, we got to do it. Let's do it. Let's. Yeah. Why not? And it's like, if you don't do it, who's going to do it? So,
just find a way.
And I've told a couple chef friends in town what I'm doing. And, I think, there's a possibility to get some involvement there as well. And, we'll see what happens.
Good. Cool. Well, anything else you want us to know about? Aside, how's it going at your household with the kids home and you guys having, even though the tasting room's closed at Giornata, didn't you just ship wine club and everything?
We're busy, really busy, because, we're open for business, and our winery's been busy as well, with our wine club. So, our kids, unfortunately, have been left home a lot, and they're 14-year-old twin girls. But I'll come home and they've made homemade gnocchi for lunch, or they're making cakes. So it's been interesting. And I have twin daughters who fight nonstop. But they've really bonded. I think, since they've been together, and, I don't want you to think we're neglecting them, because, they could come with us with some of this, but I think
they're 14. They don't want to come.
Yeah. They've enjoyed being at home together and working on projects. They're making soap and, doing all kinds of interesting stuff, and they have school. It's like a half day learn at home deal. So, yeah. But it's been interesting. Nothing I ever expected. This whole thing. So
I don't think anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Brian. Well, love to everybody over there at your house, and I'm gonna make my meatball sandwich tonight, and I'm gonna have myself some of this yummy
right on.
new ETTO.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for all your support. I know you've you've been a fan of our wines and a fan of ETTO, and it means a lot. And we have a lot of great customers, and I appreciate every one of them. So
yeah. Well, you're welcome, Brian. All right. Thanks so much, and we'll talk more soon and see what's going on with the program. I'm sure it's going to be a big success.
thank you very much.
Well, you guys, if you just caught the tail end, please watch a replay. Share this with your buddies, with your friends. Share it not only just for people in Paso Robles, but share it all over. I mean, because what I've seen this as really is showing people how community is strong and how important it is. And we do live in a beautiful destination spot. And I know people will still be coming here when we can reopen and be fully available for everybody. So I still love to share everything that Paso has to offer. And please, like I said, support your local businesses, your local organizations, and call somebody, ask them what they need, send them some food, buy them a little something if you can. It's going to make a whole big difference in their day. And it'll make a big difference in yours too. And until next time, have a great night. Thank you to all of you who are the Heart of Paso.